Welcome into Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I'm Meghan Payton. We are talking the Steelers beating the Tennessee Titans. But first, I want to thank all of you guys. We have officially reached 6,000 subscribers. So all of you that have subscribed to our channel, we are very grateful for you over here at Chat Sports. The road to 7,000 begins today. So if you are not subscribed, go ahead, press that big red button or go to youtube.com/Steelers TV. Steelers come up with a big win against the Tennessee Titans. It's always a little bit closer than you'd like it to be, but I feel really proud of this Steelers team. This is a hard AFC team to beat. They did so. They beat them 19-13. And I mean, there's a lot of reactions that we are going to get into in today's game, but I thought that Big Ben played a pretty decent game. I think that Deontay Johnson was obviously the guy that we saw most on offense out there. Chase Claypool, not really a factor much into today's game, but we are going to get into my reactions. First, I want to hear yours. Our pinned comment for today's show is, what is your one-word reaction to this Steelers win? If you get the ad break right here, now's the time. You know how it goes. Go in, get your votes in. We are talking Steelers versus Titans. My one-word reaction is turnovers. We talk about this all the time. We talk about the importance of winning the turnover battle, and the Steelers had 4-0 against the Titans. 4 turnovers and takeaways, I guess you could say, for the Steelers. The first interception by Joe Schobert. These are not in order of how they happened in the game, but this is just how we put them in the script. He ended this, I feel like, game for the Steelers. And by the way, you can see at the end of all of these, we said ended in a field goal. This is why turnovers matter. With the fumble recovery by Joe Hayden, that one was great. Kind of him and Cam Sutton together. I call that one the fumble interception combo. You've got the fumble recovery by TJ Watt, and you had the fumble recovery by Minkah Fitzpatrick. That is 12 points altogether. And those are just field goals. That just shows you how much takeaways can change a game. If you look at the percentages of what teams win, how often teams win if they win the turnover battle, it's really high. So for even how slow this Steelers offense looked in the first half, which we're going to get into, when you're able to take away the ball 4 separate times, it leads you in a pretty good place to win the game. We do have to get into some injury updates before we talk about performance. Pat Freiermuth, he left the game being evaluated for a concussion. We do not know if he in fact does have a concussion, but this would be a loss for the Steelers as they push for the playoffs. Pat Freiermuth, rookie tight end, who's been performing really well this season, hoping he gets better. And of course, we will have updates for you on him. Now, a big day for Big Ben. 16 out of 25 attempts, 152 yards. And when I say big day, I don't necessarily mean his stats today, but he has officially now passed Phillip Rivers and is now the 5th all-time leader in passing yards. He joins now Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Brett Favre. It's a pretty fun list to be a part of. Congratulations to Ben Roethlisberger. He absolutely deserves all of the credit. And, the criticism that he's received this season, that's inevitable when you are getting to the age and you're getting close to retiring. So I think it's important here at Steelers Talk that we sometimes just take a moment to step back and look at the accomplishments that Big Ben has had for this Steelers organization. So congratulations to him. 5th all-time leader in passing yards. All right, let's talk offense. Steelers offense in the first half specifically, because this was an issue, I'd say, early on. We talked 4 first downs only. You watch this game, you see how the first half's going. You're not feeling encouraged. They were 0 out of 5 on third down conversions. They had to punt the ball 4 separate times, and they only had the ball for 8 minutes and 41 seconds. This is where I think the Steelers struggle the most. They are going to have to improve this if they want a chance at making the playoffs and staying in the playoffs, because not all games are going to end like today, where you're able to have that many takeaways and change the game. You can't have that rough of a first half typically and win a lot of games. But in this case, it worked out well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They kind of moved the ball up a little bit more in the second half. Their offensive stats altogether, these are their full stats. They had 169 total yards, 133 passing yards, 36 rushing yards, but they were still only 2 out of 11 third and fourth down conversions. Not very good. But no turnovers. So, hey, that's a positive. We're going to talk defense, but first let's talk playoffs because that's what's most important. Guys, Pittsburgh's still in the others category. They're in the hunt. It's still going to be tough. They're still going to need to win, I'd say, pretty much all the rest of their games. Cincinnati and Denver play each other. That's going to be an important game to watch. Right now, you see, though, Pittsburgh is sitting at the 7-6-1 spot, that tiebreaker that we keep coming back to against the Lions. That's going to factor in to whether or not the Steelers make the playoffs, in my opinion. But they're right there. They do not have to do much besides win their own games. And I know that's, a little bit easier said than done. But if they can beat the Chiefs next week on the road, then they go on to take on the Browns at home, and they end the season in Baltimore against the Ravens. They essentially control their own destiny. We talked about this in our path to playoff video, but they can win and essentially claim at least a wild card spot, and they could still even win the division, but they will have to keep on winning. So I will ask you guys right now, do you think the Steelers will make the playoffs? It's getting closer. Games are starting to get a little bit more important. So give me your thoughts in the comments. Type Y for yes if you think they're absolutely making it, or type N for no if we're looking ahead to next season. All right, so TJ Watt had a record-setting game. We're going to tell you all about it. But first, I want to tell you guys about a great deal going on over at Fanatics that we have. If you go to chatsports.com/Steelers jersey, you can get a TJ Watt jersey. There's a ton of different options. The prices are really good. It's up to like 50% off. Go support TJ Watt, who definitely deserves to be Defensive Player of the Year. Go ahead and get your jersey right now. chatsports.com/Steelers jersey. So we talked about the problems during the first half, and I think that this is going to have major playoff implications on whether or not they will be able to get a wild card spot or possibly win their division. They have to clean up that first half. And I read an interesting report on Twitter during the game saying that Mike Tomlin's halftime speech to the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Vikings last week was, if you play like this, you are going to be sitting at home in January. And I saw one reporter say this needs to be spoken of pregame. Maybe that'll shift the gears for the first half. But this defense looked good today. I'd say we've got to give them some credit. They did allow 317 yards, which is a lot, but they had 4 takeaways. We said that that's a big deal. They were 9 out of 20 on third and fourth downs. That's the Titans. They allowed 201 rushing yards, 116 passing yards. And I'll say they did their job today. And I know you can look at these stats, you can look at the yards and say, that's a lot. They got run all over. That's been an issue for this Steelers defense. But they did well. TJ Watt, clearly the MVP for today's game and for this season. Guys, he had 5 tackles today, 1 tackle for loss, 1.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, and 1 fumble recovery. TJ Watt now officially breaks the Steelers' single season record for most sacks. He passes James Harrison, who was the former leader with 16 sacks. TJ Watt now has recorded 17 in 2021. So if you guys are still questioning whether or not TJ Watt needs to be not only a candidate, but needs to win Defensive Player of the Year, I don't know why you guys are still questioning it. He absolutely deserves it. So if you think TJ Watt should be Defensive Player of the Year, let's go give him some love in the comments. Go right now, type DPOY for Defensive Player of the Year. TJ Watt, he deserves it. He's gotten screwed over a couple years. I'd say this is his time. Now, by the way, guys, Steelers Talk always has the updates for you guys. We're going to have injury updates, game recaps like we're doing right now. And, of course, we'll be previewing the last 3 games to come. So make sure you go to youtube.com/Steelers TV. Press the big red button. We are going to keep you updated all season long on Steelers news.